Welcome back to the Explanation Pro. Today I'll recap a drama, history film called Hitler, The Rise of Evil, Part 1. Spoilers incoming. In the city of Linz, the third largest city in Austria, a young Adolf is being raised by his father, who is also her mother's uncle. His father is a bad-tempered man that thinks that Adolf is a curse from God because he married his niece. Adolf's mother, on the other hand, loves his son dearly and supports her son throughout his dream of being an artist. Adolf grows up hating his father and he, unfortunately, sees his father dying in front of him, due to a heart attack. As Adolf reaches his teenage years, he starts to make his own decisions on what he wishes to do in his life. That is why Adolf tells his mother that he is going to Vienna to pursue his career in being an artist, but his mother refuses to let his son go since she thinks that Adolf might get lost. Adolf tells his mother that he is not a boy anymore and he carries on with his decision to go to Vienna. Unpleasant news reaches Adolf when his mother is diagnosed with breast cancer, but he refuses to believe it at first, and this takes a toll on him since his mother's sickness starts to hold him back from his art audition, and he eventually fails it. On the day of his mother's death, Adolf's half-sister named Angela tries to comfort him, but he instead pours hateful remarks toward her sister. Years have gone by and Adolf continues to pursue his art career, but his artworks are rejected due to them being too dull. Even though he is too broke to afford even a room, Adolf continues to live his life in Vienna in hopes to create a change in his life, even if it means he has to live under a bridge alongside homeless people like him. Within the city, Adolf starts to get interested in individuals who speak and think badly of Jews. These remarks start to embed in his mind and eventually blames everything wrong in his life because of the Jews. With nothing else to do, Adolf sends a letter to her half-sister for his inheritance to be given to him. The siblings finally meet each other again, and Angela tells Adolf that there are more work opportunities in Linz and he can come back whenever he wishes, but Adolf, being drowned in his own pride, refuses to go back to his hometown. In the year 1914, news about countries banding together to fight Austria breaks loose in the town of Munich. A man in front of the town shouts aloud about wanting to fight for their country, and this greatly persuades Adolf, where he eventually joins the military forces. As soldiers are walking in line, an unexpected airstrike kills the soldiers, leaving only 600 of them left, including Adolf. With a few soldiers that survived the attack, Adolf is promoted to corporal rank and is officially a part of the war. Adolf continues to experience near-death experiences during his time in the war, like surviving a bunker bomb attack because he was following his dog, and surviving a mustard gas attack which only makes him blind for a while. At the hospital, a declaration letter of the Germans surrendering in the war distresses Adolf since they almost won the war. After healing from his eye injury, Adolf continues to work as a corporal in the military, and there he witnesses people showing their defiance against the current government. A Free Corps militia led by Ernst Röhm kills these individuals heartlessly, and a reporter named Fritz Gerlich informs of this incident in the printing press company where he works. Adolf is then given a job as an informant, where he is assigned to know the agenda of a certain political faction that gathers in the back room of a beer hall. Sneaking into the faction, Adolf discovers that their agenda is to separate Bavaria as a newly independent country. This baffles Adolf, and so he stands up to tell his beliefs in front of them. Anton Drexler, the person who leads the faction, asks Adolf to share his side of the story in their faction, and this becomes the start of the rise of Adolf Hitler. Adolf's gift of being a persuasive speaker leads to members of the faction and people in the beer hall gradually increasing in number. He eventually becomes the voice of the German people in being against the Jewish people, communists, and socialists, and that their total elimination will bring purity to Germany. With communists attending to hear Adolf's speech, he intentionally provokes them, which leads to a riot inside the beer hall. The following day, Adolf pays a visit to Röhm's place, where he invites him and his men to join his party, since strong men like him is greatly needed for the betterment of their party. Even though loyalty and love for their country are embedded in their hearts, Röhm refuses Adolf's offer since they are unemployed themselves. A German businessman named Ernst Hanfstaengl goes back to his hometown in Munich, alongside his wife Helena and his children. Ernst visits his old friend Friedrich Hollander, who is a musical composer, and there Friedrich invites him to come and watch the infamous Adolf Hitler, to which Ernst's curiosity leads him to agree. On the next day, the two of them watch Adolf speak in front of a crowd again, where he declares that they should completely wipe out all Jewish and communists in their country, and Hitler's speech throws off Friedrich. Friedrich flees the beer hall, leaving an astonished Ernst clapping for Adolf and his wise words. Being one of the people agreeing with his beliefs, Ernst visits Adolf and tells him that he would like to invite him to speak in front of the wealthy people who are businessmen he knows. Unfortunately, Adolf thinks that these people only care about their money more than their country, but Ernst eventually persuades Adolf into joining him so he can have the funds to make his logo and be further made known. In his room, Adolf creates his own statement by cutting his mustache in a square shape and making a logo of his own using the swastika symbol. The following night, Ernst hosts a dinner party with his fellow businessmen, and there he introduces Adolf to them. As Adolf begins his speech in front of them, his mention of hatred toward the Jews triggers one of the businessmen to stand up against his beliefs since his father is a Jew as well. Helena tries to save Adolf's image by asking whether he means only the communist Jews, but Adolf did not answer her question, invoking a conclusion that he is against all types of Jews. The furious businessman rushes to leave the dinner party with his wife, but some businessmen continue to listen to what Adolf has to say, and they all agree to fund Adolf and his beliefs. This encounter leads to Adolf's fame greatly expanding because of the funds given to him by the businessmen in promoting his ideology, as well as the birth of the Nazi Party newspaper. At the beer hall, men are bickering over an argument, and Adolf sees this and asks about their problem. Anton informs him that a German Socialist Party desires to join forces with them and create a new platform together, but this news angers Adolf, for their party's principles should never be changed. Adolf then accuses Anton of being jealous of him and calls out his actions of creating articles against him. As Adolf and his men go out, Anton quickly follows them and wishes to be part of the party again. Adolf agrees under one condition, which is for Anton to step down from his position and pass his leadership to Adolf, and to which Anton agrees. The following day, Anton announces to the whole party that he no longer feels qualified for the highest position, and so Adolf will be the new leader of the party. At the office of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, better known as the Nazis, a letter from the Bavarian Prime Minister von Kahr is given to Adolf. The letter informs Adolf for them to pay war reparations, honor the Treaty of Versailles, and discontinue his speeches, for it stirs things up. Adolf is furious to know that their party is being silenced, but he insists that this is no time for silence. Instead, it is a time for a revolution. Later that day, Ernst visits a downcasted Adolf and tries to lift his spirits by telling him that a lot of people support him and he could use some help by asking writer Fritz to write for their party. And so Adolf goes to Fritz's home and asks him for a favor, but Fritz refuses to write for them since he does not write any propaganda. Fritz's answer infuriates him, and Adolf shows his true nature of being a short-tempered person when someone thinks negatively about his beliefs, which shocks both Fritz and his wife, for they have never seen this side of Adolf before. After Adolf's visit, Fritz quickly tells this news to his great friend von Kahr, to which von Kahr assures him that he knows how to handle Adolf. A few days later, Adolf personally meets von Kahr and asks for their party to be given a position in their government. Kahr agrees to his request, but only if Adolf can keep his party silent and without any violence. And so Adolf asks for assistance and support from General Erich Ludendorff. Adolf tells him about what he and Kahr had discussed, and he wishes him to be a part of it, to which Ludendorff agrees. After his speech, his men inform Adolf about Kahr betraying him and planning to meet with his competitors for them to form a new government without Adolf's party. This enrages Adolf, and he then forms a plan to march in Berlin without the others and take Kahr and the others hostage to force them into their new government. The night of Adolf's plan comes, and they successfully detain Kahr and his fellow men in the Hofbräuhaus beer hall, but the only person left to complete their plan is for Ludendorff to show up. At exactly 3:19 a.m., Ludendorff finally shows up, and there they continue with their plan to form a forced allegiance together. The Nazis then go forth to march in Berlin, but due to Ludendorff's delayed arrival, armed men are already in their places to attack them. In the beer hall, one of the men asks Ludendorff for them to be let free since their wives will be worried sick without them, and he agrees to let them all go. Later that morning, Adolf's men struggle to move forward since numerous armed men suddenly show up, and it is actually because Ludendorff lets Kahr and the others be let free, which leads to them calling their army to fight the Nazis. Being a man with great confidence in his plans, Adolf continues to move forward, but their actions lead to them being shot. While chaos runs around the place, Ernst tells his wife that they will go and escape this place since it is not safe anymore. An injured Adolf goes to Ernst's house since for him it is a safe place, but there he only sees Helena and the children. Adolf starts to hallucinate due to his wounds and the tension that he feels because of the chaos. He attempts to kill himself by placing a gun in his head, but Helena stops him from doing so, and Adolf is later caught by the authorities. Upon being imprisoned, Adolf starts to lose hope and goes on a hunger strike. Knowing this, Ernst tells his wife to bring back Adolf's hope since Adolf likes Helena since she saved him from killing himself. Helena eventually agrees, and she starts to talk with Adolf at the prison, and Ernst's plan works since Adolf's passion starts to come alive again. Adolf and Ludendorff are being accused of high treason against the government, and as people and reporters watch his trial, Fritz is baffled to see Adolf suddenly talking about his ideology again and gains the interest of both the judges and people. Fritz tells his frustrations to his wife since he thought the trial will finally show Adolf's true nature of being a cold-blooded monster by having such a cruel ideology against Jewish people. But instead, Adolf turns it upside down. Fritz's wife Sophie encourages his husband to not be too swallowed up by his thoughts and reminds him of his words that extraordinary times demand extraordinary measures. Sophie's words spark an idea in Fritz's mind, and so he rushes to his work and writes an article on the front page of the newspaper about standing up against Adolf's party. As the trial ends, Adolf is found guilty of high treason but is eligible for parole in 9 months. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe my channel for more videos like this. See you in the next video.